5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hey, everyone, and welcome to the 2008 World Series Game 5 Zoom reunion presented by Citizens Bank. And here with us today to talk about that Game 5 and to relive some memories, myself, Brad Lidge, we got Scott Air, Jason Worth, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Shane Victorino, Pat Burrell, and Nick Billmeyer. And I think, I could be mistaken, but I think we've got a Charlie Manuel sighting out there. Pretty excited if that's the case. But we're going to get into this thing. And guys, I'll tell you what, before Charlie gets on here, hopefully there's not a whole lot of technical difficulties, but hopefully we can keep moving the picture away from Pat's tooth. But before we get into that, I want to kind of let you guys, I'll just kind of ask you guys a little bit about your favorite moments from Chuck before he jumps on here, because obviously a lot of you guys get to know. There he is. Chuck, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, man.
What's up?
Yeah. What's up?
Chuck, your timing is perfect. We're just about to kick this thing off, and I think I want to kind of float this thing around a little bit to just kind of get some memories from it doesn't have to be 2008, but we'll start there. Some memories with Charlie Manuel from your guys' career, and you can kind of just bounce it around a little bit. And I don't know, Pat, you were with him for a while. All you guys were with him for a long time, but Pat, I'd love to start with you. And just try not to smile when you talk, okay?
Fuck, I got crushed instantly.
On the spot, baby.
Hey, Chuck.
What's up?
Yeah, I met Charlie when early on, when Tomei came over. And so there's just probably too much info that we can't put on this call. But I remember the one conversation we had that's pretty relevant to this group. It was early on. We were starting to kind of get things rolling. We had a pretty good team. We needed some pieces. And he came up to me one day late in the year and he said, "Hey, just so you know, you're going to be sliding down a spot next year." I said, "Charlie, I'm having my best year." He said, "Yeah, but Howard's coming. He's hitting fourth." I said, "Well, he's in Double-A. How are you going to tell me this guy's in Double-A? He's going to hit fourth for us?" He goes, "He's going to hit 50 homers." And sure enough, he did.
That is fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, let's keep moving it around. I know we got a lot to get to today. Chase, Howie, anybody want to jump in? Feel free to jump in, fellas.
Yeah, man. No, man, that's the first I'm hearing of that story. Damn, Pat. My bad, bro. I'm sorry.
You liked that, didn't you?
Oh, man. No, man, my first experience was with Chuck down in Double-A, where I came down in Reading. And the biggest thing with me was kind of helping me get straightened out hitting-wise, because he noticed one thing where I would always kind of close myself off, which is where he kind of gave me the whole bat pointing thing where Tome was doing, and really kind of just helped realign me with the pitcher and got me going well, man, because that was always one thing with Chuck was everything that came out of his mouth was positive. It was always positive. And the other thing I love, too, was Chuck's a guy who loves home runs. Like, he loved them more when we hit them, but, like, even when the other guys hit them, if it was an impressive shot, I remember standing next to Chuck, somebody hit a homer on the other team, and he was like, "God damn, son, that's how you're supposed to hit it." Like, he was a fan of that, bro. I just started dying laughing. And, I mean, that was always Chuck, man. A fan of the game. He was a fan of us, and always positive.
Chase, what do you got for us?
Hey, I completely agree with Ryan. I think we all know how positive Chuck was, and I think that's the reason he was able to get the most out of all of us. I do remember a story. Maybe Charlie remembers this. He claims that Julio Franco, picture Citizens Bank Park right now, picture center field, picture like the wall in center field that Ryan hit a bunch of balls over, and then picture like the Liberty Bell clock that is way past the center field fence. And he claims one day in early batting practice that Julio Franco hit one off the Liberty Bell up there. Charlie, are you still sticking to that you actually did see that?
Hey, Chase, no, I said he hit one completely over the center field pavilion out there. I said he went over the backdrop in center field and out of the ballpark.
You said
I got a back
the Liberty Bell.
Yeah, I got a back chase on that. I was standing right next to him when he said it.
I'll back him on that too. That's a third. Yep. He said the clock.
Yeah, he said it was off the clock, off the bell back there. We were like, even if you had a 40-mile-per-hour wind behind you, there's no shot. No shot.
Hey, Chase, but hey, Ryan, I like to say to Chase, hey, Chase, you know, like I did talk a lot about the Liberty Bell, but I would always tell you guys that's what I was going to hit if I was playing.
It's true. So true. Oh, man.
I'll tell you what, J-Dub, you want to jump in?
Sure, yeah. I mean, everybody's talking about how positive Chuck was. All I remember was him telling me, you know, I'd be a good player in like 5, 6, 7 years.
Hey, J-Dubs, you remember when I told you got to beat somebody out?
Yeah.
I told you got to beat somebody out. You said you wanted to play every day. I said, well, beat somebody out. And you said, how you do that? He said, I got to play regular. I said, well, if you play good enough, you'll play regular. I remember those things.
Yeah. Then you'd bench me for 4 days after I got 4 hits. I remember them days.
I was a front runner. I used to say that all the time. You know, like I'm not two-faced. I'm 1,000-faced. What the heck?
I'll give you credit, Chuck. You finally let me play. I appreciate it, man. You hooked me up.
Yeah.
We had to get rid of Pat, but
Yeah.
What we got? Hey, how about you, Vic?
I just remember coming over as a Route 5 kid, walking into camp. You know, just as you said, you know, when I got sent back after spring training, you know, just Chuck being a positive manager, just telling me, hey, go to AAA, stay positive. You know, we brought you here for a reason. You know, I think that's a testament to him. And all I remember, the thing is, one moment I remember is when I got obviously kicked out in center field and I ran in and I didn't realize Chuck had gout, you know, going on his body. So I bumped him, and I remember the next day he called me in his office and he said, "You MFer, I can promise you one thing. I lucked Eddie and knock you out in front of 40,000 last time." I was like, "Oh, Chuck, why are you so upset?" He goes, "Man, I have gout, and you ran into me, and you pushed me out of the way, and I would knock you out in front of everybody." But you know,
Oh my God.
but Chuck was always positive. I think that's the one thing that, you know, the testament to Chuck is that as a manager, I mean, Chuck, he always made us, you know, play at our best, and you know, it's nothing like playing for a manager like you.
Scotty, you want to weigh in from a bullpen perspective?
I do, because mine is cool. I think I got traded there from a place I wasn't too welcome, I guess, anymore. And my first day, I don't know if Chuck remembers, my first day when I got there, I passed the physical, did all that stuff. Went into your office, Chuck. You know, Doobie's in there, Mick was in there, the trainer was in there. And I hadn't pitched in like 8 or 9 days, and they wanted to put me on the disabled list, backtrack it a couple days. And I said, I really just want to pitch. I don't want to go on a DL. And you looked at me and Charlie goes, well, hell, we'll get him in there tonight. And it was go from there. So it was everybody that just spoke just talked about confidence he gave you. I had it all right there. I was good to go. It was like a whole new world for me.
Yeah.
And I think I pitched well, but I mean, you know, a lot of it was because of that.
Chuck, I mean, I think we all agree we're the ultimate player's manager. And, you know, if I'm going to throw one thing in there, it's that you didn't give about what the media thought. That is so rare. I mean, I can count in one hand the managers in the game today that got the balls to not care about what the media's thinking and try and making themselves look good. So we all appreciated that like crazy. And, man, we're thrilled to have you here to kind of recap some of this, because I do want to jump into Game 5 now. I guess that's why we're here to talk about that a little bit. And if we're going to do that.
Hey, let y'all like to say, I want Burrow up there. Look, I've been lifting weights, man. I got some muscles now. Hey,
Let me
looking good, man.
Hey, yeah,
I see you.
Damn. You see it?
Hey,
Wow. Huh?
where's
yeah.
Hey, I'm still working on my waist, but it's getting smaller.
Let's get to Game 5 here.
Good.
And let's kick it off here with how we started the game, because obviously conditions weren't ideal right from the get-go. But we got Victorino's at bat to get the scoring started. And I do want to talk about that a little bit, Vic, because you know, especially from the right-hand side, if I remember right, you were hot the entire postseason. You think about the at-bats against Sabathia and how well he was doing going into that. But talk about your just kind of how you felt from the right-hand side, specifically the run you knocked in early in that game. And, it looked like you were just teeing off on fastballs in, which I'm not sure why opposing team scouting reports kept saying to pitch you in right-handed. That did not work out well. Thank God that's their scouting report.
I just, truthfully, I mean, I look back on moments like that. We got the video and the footage of that moment. I think to myself, being up there with the bases loaded yet again, is a testament to the team that I had, the teammates that I had. And I always tell people, on a team filled with guys like Jimmy Rollins leading off and Chase Utley hitting behind you and Ryan Howard hitting behind you, who's a guy that you're probably going to pick your poison with, and a lot of times it was me. So to be pocketed in between those guys. But in that situation, I was hitting fifth that day. Chuck and his brilliant ideas as the manager that he always was, dropped me down in the lineup to hit. If I'm not mistaken, right behind Ryan, if not behind Jason. So, I always tell myself, just do your job, do the best you can. And, to be up there with the bases loaded, a lot in my career was, those moments that I look back on. And, hey, lucky enough, I got a nice little fastball in by Mr. Kazmir, and I was able to pull it down the left field line, put some runs on the board, and get us the lead early on.
Absolutely. And another thing that kind of was setting all that up, Chase, you got drilled in that inning. And I think from what I know, over 2007 and 2008, you were hit more times than anybody else in baseball. And I don't know. I think that was, from my perspective, watching you hit, you're standing on top of home plate, daring people to pitch you in. If you did, you turn on it. Talk about how that was kind of always your approach. And I mean, quite frankly, whenever you got drilled, you took it like a champ and ran down to first base without any reactions. Talk about how that kind of factored into part of your game plan when you hit.
Good. Yeah, I had a lot of T-ball practice early on growing up. That's how we would get each other out, is by getting hit by the T-ball, which didn't really hurt at the time, but I think it mentally prepared you for what could happen. And listen, you're right. I was on top of the plate. I didn't get out of the way too often, which most of the time was a good thing. You get on base for Ryan Howard, Pat Burrell, Jason Worth, those guys. The more base runners you have, the better. I tried to fake it, tried to pretend like none of them hurt, but they did.
Well, the rain keeps pouring down, and we got our run. Obviously, Tampa got one back, but I don't know. The wait for me absolutely sucked. Like, it was just one of those deals where I kept feeling like I was going to be coming in, but you never knew when the game got delayed another day, and we're all sitting there waiting, and it's hard to sleep and everything else. Scott, talk a little bit, from a bullpen perspective about that wait and knowing you're probably going to be coming into a game really soon. You just kind of have to sit on it for a while.
Well, it's funny because, like you said, the day extra wait, Doobie had already told us when we restart, you'll be up with – I think you or Madsen were up with me to start, and then Madsen restarted when we did start, right? I think that's what he told me. So for a day and a half, I'm thinking, all right, so I'm going to start warming up when this game resumes, and I got to face – I think it was Pena coming up because JC had already pitched or had not pitched yet. I don't even remember now, but I remember somebody – I'd only faced two guys before that, and they were both the same batter, Akinora, twice. So for a day and a half, plus you guys were on your nice, comfy apartments. I was, remember, traded there, so I was in a small little hotel room with my wife and two kids.
Yeah. I don't think anybody enjoyed the wait. That's for sure. Howie, I want to talk to you about that from like a hitter's perspective. And obviously you've been kind of blowing some games open for us in the World Series, allowing the bullpen to have a little bit of breathing room for sure. But talk about how tough that was, from your perspective. You're hot, you're seeing the ball well. You don't want to wait. We all want to jump back in there. How hard was that for you to have to kind of sit on that, halfway through game 5 and have to wait to come back?
You know what? The whole experience, it sucked when it happened. I was honestly at first base when they started to bang it, and I was like, how is Cole even holding the ball? Because he threw the ball over to me when BJ was over there at first, and I tried to throw it back, and I was like, I don't even know how he's able to hold on to the ball. But the one thing I was glad about was that they made the decision quick when they decided to bang it the next day, and as opposed to having to go to the field and are we playing, are we not playing? So it's like at least you knew where we stood. But it was one of those things to where, for me, I think there was so much adrenaline, I think, from the hitting standpoint, and knowing that the game was tied and knowing that when this thing started back up, we had 3 innings to get after it. Like, it was a sprint of all sprints. So It was one of those things, I think, for me personally, I was ready to go. And as soon as they said, play ball, ready to go. And I know Jenkins was fired up for it.
Yeah, Chuck, talk to us a little bit about Jenks because, look, you decide to go with Jenks coming off of that delay. He waffles a ball by Balfour off the center field wall. He was obviously ready for that at bat, and you put him in. Lefties hadn't really done great, but obviously for Jenks, that was a huge at bat. And I'll tell you what, that dude, I've never seen Jenkins as fired up as he was when he got to second base and fist pumping like he was. Talk about that decision, Chuck, to get him in there.
Yeah, I think I told him about 10 minutes before the game started that he was going to be the hitter. And when I told him that I had some guys in the coaching room, Mick might remember they was asking me why Jenkins, why not put a on base guy on? And I said Jenkins is an on base guy. I'd seen him for all those years when he played in Milwaukee when he was a hell of a player. And ball four, when I read all the information about him and from what I knew how he pitched, I thought to myself, he's going when he starts a game, he's going to try to establish fastball low. Jenkins is a dead low ball hitter. And he's the guy I want. And somebody would say, well, why not try to get a guy on base? They asked me later. I said, I wasn't playing for on base. I was playing for a double or a homer. And that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that clearly worked out pretty dang well. Let's kind of move on from there a little bit, Chase, because one thing that I think obviously every Philly fan remembers, and probably kids have been trying to do this probably unsuccessfully, but hopefully with a little bit of success, trying to repeat your deke, going to first base and then nailing the guy at home plate. That's kind of an iconic moment I think for yourself, but it just kind of shows how your head was in the game at that point and how you saw the field. Was that something, I mean, in the middle of the play, was that something you were thinking about potentially before the play started, or was it, something you were thinking as the play developed that you were going to do that? Kind of take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I think throughout the year, Jimmy and I had a pretty good relationship on how we would talk about certain situation and what the most important things were. And that runner on second base, be it the tie-in run or the winning run, that's the most important run at the time. And I think JC was pitching, and I was shifted over in the hole a little bit because he threw a lot of sinkers into lefties. And sure enough, he hit it kind of up the middle, which we were not anticipating him hitting it there. And in my time clock in my head, it seemed like it was taking way too long for me to run. As I was running for it, I caught it. And I just didn't feel comfortable enough to try to make the play at first base, knowing that runner on second base was the most important run. And lucky for us, he kept going. And Chooch made a good pick at the plate and a great tag. And it was obviously an exciting time. But I think, the season, during that season, the season before, just the relationship that Jimmy and I made and the way we talked about the game kind of prepared us for that type of play.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable moment there. And Pat, I want to get to you and the double you hit off the wall, because when you hit that ball, everybody in the bullpen stood up. We were 100% sure that ball was gone. And 99 out of 100 days, if the wind isn't howling in from dead center, that ball is gone. Talk to us about the contact with that pitch a little bit. I mean, you had to have thought in your mind it was gone as well, but obviously get in there with a huge double for us at that point in the game.
I think I was leading off the inning and left the left-hander in the game. And curveballs and curveball after another, and finally I got one and hit it good. But the weather, man, it was so cold and the wind was blowing. I wasn't sure. I mean, part of me thinks I probably should have been on third base, but
no.
One of those deals.
Hey, you were good where you were at.
I knew my day was over. I knew they were going to put somebody in a run, and then I get to watch from the dugout. But no, yeah, it would have been nice if it got over. But
I didn't want to pinch hit for you right there. It was too big a moment. Pat, I'm looking out here at my swimming pool. You helped put that there, all you guys. Got a nice pool. After this is over, I'm gonna go out there and jump in and come back. I'm gonna take a nap outside. I'll be thanking you guys.
Chuck, are you in the best shape of your life right now?
No, but I'm getting there.
All right, that a baby.
I work out every day. I walk anywhere from 4 to 8 miles a day. And I started lifting weights about 2 weeks ago. And gradually I'm doing a little bit more every day. And actually, between the reps, I walk. Usually, I'll probably walk about a half a mile and come back. I do sets of reps. And I do a lot of repetitions.
Excellent. All right. Well, all right, J-Dub, let's go to the ninth inning here. Obviously, there's a lot of drama that's happening out there on the field. We got. I think one people probably forget a little bit is one thing that is really stuck out to me in the ninth inning was out number 2, and Navarro hit a slider that I threw pretty dang well to you with a runner in second base and 1 out, and it was kind of a low, kind of sinking, kind of top spin, low line drive out there to right field, and one thing I knew, like the whole year, I felt like, I have the best defense I've ever had behind me. Somebody's going to come through. But when he did hit that ball to right field, for a moment, I about swallowed my tongue. And then, fortunately, you came flying in. Obviously, you flashed the leather. You're obviously always a great defensive player. That was one of the strongest points of your game. We know you hit all the bombs in the postseason, but your defense always bailed us out too. Talk a little bit about that particular play, because from my angle, if you didn't get a good jump on that ball, things would have ended up very different.
Yeah, that play is still really vivid, and the whole second half of that game was such a blur. From even going on the field to running sprints, it was like the place was going absolute bananas. And from that moment on to the end, it was blurry. But that play has always stuck out to me because it was like you kind of one of those plays where you kind of felt the action coming towards you before it happened, and was able to get a good jump. And still, I don't know what now everybody talks about exit velo and all that, but I don't know how hard that ball was coming. But I mean, it was a pretty firm line drive. I got a good jump, and I just remember catching it and being really surprised that I actually caught it. It was pretty surreal, but definitely one of the more vivid moments of the World Series.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, thank God you caught that ball. Mick, I'll tell you what, man, one thing that for me, everyone asks kind of what the season was like and stuff. I always reference back to the bullpen, guys like Scott Air. Everybody, did their job so well. I never had to come in the 8th inning. I literally think the entire season I never came in the 8th inning because everybody before me did such a great job taking care of business with their inning, and it allowed everybody to excel at their particular inning. Obviously, from your perspective, Mick, you got to watch everybody go about their business that year, but talk a little bit about the pen and kind of what you saw and what kind of made us click from your perspective that everybody was able to get out there and, all the way up through the last out of the 2008 season, everybody took care of business.
Yeah, you guys kind of got on a roll out there, and I remember it's like you guys were it's whatever it takes. Somebody wrote that on the phone, inside the phone, the bullpen phone. I don't know if it was you or Jay Stee or Madsen, but you guys just took care of each other. Everybody was pretty confident too. I think they knew they had you behind them, Lidger, and you had a pretty good year that year. I just think everybody was confident, and we tricked them.
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of smoke and mirrors out there and a lot of comedic relief, Mick. I don't think you give yourself enough credit for keeping us all loose for the entire season and really the entire time I was in Philly. You were a good mental coach for us out there. Obviously, any good bullpen coach knows how to talk to the guys out there, but you're one of the best at it, and we all appreciated your ability to inject good humor, whatever the situation was. So we needed that. It allowed us to be serious when we needed to be serious, but before we had to do that, it's nice when you don't have to be, serious in the bullpen for 5-6 innings every single day. Scott, talk a little bit about that. I want to get back to you on this because, coming over the way you did and jumping into that bullpen, what did you see out there in the pen that made you able to function as well as you did, but also everybody else around you?
Well, you said it, Mick. As soon as you got down there, he let you know when it was time to go to work. He'd let you know a couple innings before, hey, knucklehead, you may be facing such and such. You look at Durbin and go, hey, you own this guy. We talked about in the meeting. You may be facing him in the 6th. Go stretch, or But before that, it was a pretty close knit unit. I got welcomed in pretty quickly. down that bullpen with some cheesy fries in the bathroom there. Sneak those in the bathroom evidently when you weren't pitching that day. Madison had the hookup or whoever did, but man, it did. It just felt like you guys. With a lot of the bullpen guys I knew, with some other guys involved as well, but went out to eat on the road. As soon as you got to a new place, I think our first road trip when I got there was to Pittsburgh, and we went to some restaurant, had sushi. So it was a tight-knit group that hung out, that backed each other up, and it did feel different confidence when you knew that, like I said, I was only there a couple of months, but I did know that if I had a tough inning, I had someone right behind me that would get the job done, or felt like they would get the job done. So you didn't have to be perfect every night, and it made things a lot easier.
You know what I remember about that year is twice you were in a ball game and Taguchi dropped fly balls out there in left field. We had Pat out there, and Charlie put Taguchi in. After he dropped the second one, I turned to Durbin or somebody. I said, "What the hell did Lidger do to Taguchi?" He was killing you.
Hey Mick, I'm gonna tell you something. He did not drop the balls. He didn't even get to them. He was broke the wrong way. Hey.
I think he was 45 years old.
He kept telling me he could play defense.
Well, I think we should have left Pat out there, but didn't work out.
I'll tell you something. Pat did great, man. What do you mean left him out there? He did super. Hey.
Smallest fucking left field in the whole league. I mean, if I can't handle it.
Before we get off, I'll tell you a story about Pat, okay? What about Clemens was pitching in Houston that one day, and it's a big game. I know you guys remember. I'm trying to think of exactly what year it was, but he's pitching, and Pat's 1 for 19 with 17 punch outs. And I played, and I put him in the lineup that day. And I walk out, walk out in the dugout, and Doobie, Mick might have been one of them too. Hey Pat, they said to me, "Are you feeling bad today, or what's wrong with you?" I said, "What do you mean, what's wrong with me?" He said, "You put Pat in left field." I said, "I know he's 1 for 19 with 17 punch outs." I said, "I know that." And he goes, "Well, why are you playing him for then? First time up, you get a long at bat and you get a 3-run homer. And the next at bat, you get a bases loaded double and knocked him out of the game. But when you hit the homer, I told Doobie, I said, now he's 2 for 20 with 3 ribbies. And then you come up and hit you hit a double, knocked in 2 runs, and that was 5 or something. And then I turned around and told Doobie, I said 3 for 21 with 5 ribbies. And I said, that's why I played him today. So really. I stay with you. You always stay with the person that got you there.
All right, the final out, the swing and the miss, and Howie. Right away, I'm going to go to you on this because I'm speaking in tongues. I don't know what planet I'm on. I'm just screaming, and all of a sudden I'm on my side. Talk about that takedown and kind of your game plan going in there. Obviously, you met Chooch and I with some brute force, and And then I want to toss it to Vic because, jumping on the pile twice, I think you did. Yeah. When I was at the bottom, the first one hurt. The second one hurt a lot worse. Howie, we'll start with you on that and the takedown there.
Yeah, I mean, Vic's double tap was completely uncalled for. But first, I mean, I want to actually take it back before we got to the last swing and miss, to the meeting on the mound when Doobie came out and Hinsky was coming up to the plate, and I remember all of us were there, and Doobs was like, "Have you faced this guy before?" And you were like, you had this look on your face that I was like, I hadn't seen. It was like I'm locked in but confused at the same time. It was I don't know what it was. It was a lot of emotions going on. And he said, "Hey, have you faced this guy before?" You're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, how'd it go?" And he was like, "You said he waffled me." And I, right then and there, I put my glove on my face. I remember Chase's face. I was kind of like, "Oh, all right, well, it should be interesting." And then wound up, we're like, "All right, well, hey, go get him." And you threw like 3 of the nastiest sliders that I think you've thrown like that entire year. And then I just told myself, when you got to 2 strikes, I'm like, I'm going to be the first one in. I probably ran the fastest I ever ran my entire career. And just, I was like, I'm taking them both out, which was a terrible idea because then the rest of the pile comes in. Never be on the bottom of the pile because that hurts, especially when you got Shane double tapping. And Shane wasn't the only one. Jenkins did it too because he didn't do it right the first time. He fell off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people tried to pile on and then do it again, but it definitely, to your point, that hurt bad. I mean, Scott, you got something for us?
Oh, I was just saying, Clay, Condry, and I were racing to see which one of us fatties could get there first.
You didn't blow a hammy either.
I did not blow a hammy. I could feel my hammies. It was frozen.
Hey, Brad, I do have some insight on this. I remember somehow at one point I'm around the pile, and you're at the bottom looking up, and you have this face of like pure panic, like you're about ready to die.
Dude, I went through a lot of emotions.
You're fired up. So we kind of like, move some people around so you can get a breath. I remember your face. I thought like you literally like that's closest to death you've probably ever been.
Dude, I was still screaming for joy, but I knew I was also kind of close to death because I couldn't breathe. So there was a lot of heightened emotional state for me and probably lasted for the whole entire night, because when you're that close to death and you're that happy, it's hard to calm down for a while. But if we can talk about the rest of the night for a little bit, Pat, we had a pretty good time at your place afterward. Kind of a legendary spot. I don't even know what I can say about it, but that was amazing. That was an amazing night at your place. Talk about opening up your pad for everybody and letting shoot. It seemed like just about everybody in the city of Philly, and obviously the whole squad over to your house that night. How much fun was that for you? And was it a total pain to clean up the next day?
Oh, I don't remember that, but the problem was it was supposed to be 2 nights before, so we ran out of booze 2 nights later.
Elvis even got drunk, didn't he?
Huh?
Elvis even got drunk.
Oh man,
Elvis got drunk.
Just took everybody a while to get there because the traffic.
Oh,
getting out of that ballpark was tough.
Yeah. I mean, even with the escort down to your place, it wasn't easy. I mean, downtown was total mayhem, and in a great way. And it was obviously super exciting for us to be a part of that. But Pat, let's go back to Elvis for a minute, because Elvis kind of became a legendary pet in Philadelphia after that night, but certainly after the World Series parade, where you featured him on your float there. And did he actually get some World Series bling out of that?
I couldn't believe it, but they made him a collar with the World Series ring on it. So, I think he made it to 2012. He had a full life, but that collar he had, he was dragging that thing around the house for months.
Chase, can we get a reaction? I'm looking at your face right now. Can we get a reaction from you on that?
Elvis was awesome. I think we all saw that, and in fact, he deserved a ring, and he did live a good long life. It was a good one.
What about your dog, Chase? Is he good?
Huh?
Is Jack still living?
Jack's still living. He's got a bad back, bad knees, kind of like me, but he's all right. He's doing all right, hanging in there.
That's good. He replaced Elvis.
No, you can't replace Elvis.
Yeah, you can. You can replace anybody.
Didn't take Ruben long to replace me.
Never the same though. Well, I wish Vic was still here, because I want to talk to him about surfing on his float the way he did. What other memories do you guys have of the parade, J-Dub? Anything kind of stick out to you? I remember having to pee for like 7 or 8 hours after having, you get on the float and you hammer some Bud Lights and you feel like everything's going to be fine. And then, somewhere after a couple hours, it hits you, there's nowhere to pee, but you're like only a quarter of the way through the day. So talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think one of the things that sticks out from the parade is when we pulled out of the parking lot, and I don't know who called ahead, but somebody called ahead and delivered 6 or 8 cases of beer to our float. So
I think that was Myers.
We had the fun float. But I was gonna ask Pat to tell us a story about where he had to get off his float or chariot, whatever you want to call it. And he went into one of the local businesses that bars or something. I don't exactly remember the story, but I remember something happened and we had to delay the whole parade for however long. I don't know what you're doing in there, but
No, I had to use the bathroom too, but there was obviously nothing up there with those horses for me, so I slid back onto one of the floats, and we had to. I mean, it was 6 hours. Of course, I didn't have any Bud Lights then, but I got some later. But I mean that, when that the Budweiser, the Clydesdales, whatever that's called, I was on. And when we turned around City Hall there to hit Broad Street, that's when, it kind of all hit me that there were so many people. I don't think people understand, the sea of red, they called it. But it wasn't just on Broad Street, but all the side streets that went down. I mean, you couldn't believe the amount of people, and it just, it never stopped. I mean, we got to the stadium, and then the stadium was full, so they took us to the football stadium, and then that was full. I didn't hear about anybody dying, but I'm pretty sure that I saw this horse kick this guy. I don't think he could have survived. People were trying to get in, and the horses, man, they were unbelievable. They were stomping people down.
I mean, it was. I think we could all safely say we've never seen anything visually like that in our lives before. The Chase, we finally make our way to our seats out there in the infield, and. We all know your speech. We all loved hearing your speech. Talk to us a little bit about your appreciation from the fans and your ability to really communicate what was on your mind at that point.
Right, great question, Brad. Appreciate it. I think Pat nailed it on the head. The amount of people was surreal. The sea of red was something that you will never experience again. You can't even. We couldn't even anticipate what it was going to be like. So. That was a very emotional, exciting time during that ride down to the park, and then throw us on stage with the packed house. And I don't remember at the time if we knew we were going to say something, but, like you said, Brad, I expressed my emotions and said what was on my mind. I got a little grief from it, but overall it was what I felt.
Absolutely. I mean, every kid's going to hear it from, every once in a while. So better out of your mouth than somebody they don't know, I guess. Howie, your reaction on that?
Hold on one sec. This has been killing me for years. But we were sitting up on that stage, and I don't remember if Chase remembered asking me this, but he goes, "Hey, do you think this is live?" I go, if anything's going to be fun, it's going to be this, And he goes, "Okay, I'm just making sure because I was thinking about saying something." I go, "Well, first of all, you can pretty much say whatever you want, whenever you want at this point. This is the only time we can do this. So whatever you're going to do, just go for it." And I remember, there was some grief about it, but you wouldn't have known that in the stadium. I mean, those people went berserk when he said that, and that was what it was all about. I mean, I'm sure that, the people with young kids, probably didn't appreciate it, but he said it great. If you grow up one day and you get to win a World Series, you can say whatever you want to.
I had a good time.
I enjoyed it immensely.
I thought it was the best thing ever. Just seeing, because I remember I was sitting next to J-Dub, and I just remember J-Dub had this incredible Hulk fist bottle holder with a beer in it, sitting with his shades on, and as soon as Chase said it, just pops up hands up in the air, like, yes. I mean, the whole place erupts. I mean, I think like Pat said, man, it's like, it's one of those moments where you've earned the right to be able to say whatever the hell it is that you want and be able to express yourself however you feel in that moment. I mean, some people are going to like it, some people aren't, but I mean, hey, we worked hard for that. You worked hard for that moment, Chase.
That's right. We did work hard for that.
Yeah, that was well deserved. You know, it's funny that Hulk fist came out of the second deck when we were driving onto the field, and I somehow caught it, but it literally came down. Whoever threw it, great throw. I caught it, and then I put it. That was when we were on the cars coming around the warning track. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, people, just the sea of people on the way in, like the amount of alcohol. Like I remember our float ran out of beer, and people just started tossing beers up on the float. I probably made one of the best backhands I'd ever done in life on a beer, but
well, you didn't get defensively replaced.
Chuck, talk a little bit. Listen, I don't know if anyone has ever been embraced this really like you have. I mean, the fans, they love you like nobody else. And I guess probably one thing that, why we're talking about the fans and the beers they threw to us and the Hulk fist and everything else we got from them. Talk a little bit about why they made this thing so special. Obviously, it's been 25 years since the city of Philly had won in any championship in any major sport. And so the city was ready to pop at this point. But, man, they have certainly embraced you and all of our squad from 08. Talk a little bit about the fans and your relationship with them and the love you guys feel.
I think winning was the biggest thing about it. But I'll say this, about 5 or 6 years, my whole baseball career, managing in Philadelphia, you guys know when we won 5 straight divisions, and even the year before that we got in, I felt like that our team was very special. And those were the as far as 25 guys are our team, those guys like to play and like to come to the ballpark more than any club that I was ever around as a player or a coach or manager. And I mean that. And I had, very easy to manage our ball club. It wasn't hard. From a fan standpoint, I think when I took that job, they did not like me. But at the first interview I had, I made the statement that when we win, you'll like me. And but you guys are the one that actually made them like me by how you played and the job that you did, and also how you like to play baseball and the game that we brought to the ballpark. We were the game in town. We had all the talent in the world, and and we stayed focused on what we did, and we came to the ballpark every day to win. Life is an everyday situation. It's not, like you just don't cut and drift and slack. Slacking ain't where it's at. You got it out in the world today. It's like that. Hey, when you slack, you'll get behind, or things won't go good. When you're at the top of your game is when the moment's there. And I think in the World Series, when I look back, the biggest thing that ever happened in my baseball career, I think. But at the same time, too, I remember when it was over and I stood in the dugout and our team was it didn't hit you right at first. And all of a sudden, I thought to myself, somebody has to tell us that we won the World Series because we still had more left. I felt good about that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, this has been awesome. I guess before we wrap this thing up, anybody else have any kind of closing thoughts on any other memories that stick out from either Game 5 or the parade or just maybe even the off season from that? Anything might come to mind about how special that year was?
What about the rubber duckies?
The rubber duckies.
Oh, the rubber duckies.
I'll do something. Jason's been in the rubber ducky. I went to the mountain one time. He said, "Get that rubber duck out of here."
Wait, what?
And I didn't realize I had one up there, really.
You got it out.
You did. You eventually got it out. It was good.
Thank you. I like to say, hey, what about first year when I think I came to work with the Phillies? I'm down in AAA, and Utley tries to run over this big catcher at the plate one night. You remember that, Ut? When you hit that catcher real hard? And that,
Yeah, I remember.
I never had talked to Ut very much, but just to say hello or something. So I go in the clubhouse. I tell Chase, I go, "Hey Chase, that's the way to do it, man. That's the way to hit him." And he looked at me, and his eyes got real big, and he says, "I don't know." I said, "Are you hurt?" And he goes, "No, I'm not hurt."
Charlie, you're special. I think you're very, very special. I think the success that we had, obviously we had a super talented team, but the fact what you were able to bring out of us, the confidence, like everyone talked about, just the amount of appreciation we had for what you did for us. I don't think you'll ever really realize it, but just so you know, and I think I can speak for everyone that without you, we would not have been able to accomplish what we did.
I'll tell you something. I totally appreciate that, but at the same time, I look at it as you guys. If I play a part in it, it was the fact that I wanted you to be successful and have fun. Every one of you, and I mean that. I look at every one of you as like my brother or my son or something, really. And I pull for you. I think about you a lot, and I pull for you. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's a great way to end this thing, and very appreciative for everybody for joining us. This Game 5 will replay tonight at 7 p.m. on NBC Sports Philadelphia. I want to say thanks again to our sponsor, Citizens Bank, and thanks to you guys. It's been a lot of fun, fellas. And man, I hope we get to do something like this again. Well done, guys.
Hey, Pat, when I get well, I'm going to play you in golf again.
Better bring a Brinks truck.
Huh? Hey,